Escalante, aggressive, I love it. Sideways he goes, but he's in deep. Fights right back, does Scholtz, the South African.
Mesa goes to the inside of drag race to the finish. Stick final, Mesa does it.
He is upset.
Peterson call it, give him the checker by 0.012 seconds.
Here's that battle. Oh, and it comes so close. And 10 to the line it goes.
By the slimmest of margins, takes the win.
Welcome to Indianapolis in round 8 of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. I'm your host, Hannah Lopa. Home to the penultimate round this weekend is one of the most iconic circuits in motorsports history, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. One champion has already emerged, but 4 fates have yet to be decided. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway is located about 5 miles west of downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. The 2.6-mile infield road course was built between 1998 and 2000 and was updated again in 2008. The Speedway was placed on a National Register of Historic Places in 1975 and designated a National Historic Landmark in 1987. The first motorsports event at the track consisted of 7 motorcycle races sanctioned by the Federation of American Motorcyclists on August 14, 1909. The original track surface was paved with 3.2 million bricks. This gave the track its popular nickname, the Brickyard. Today, 3 feet of the original bricks remain at the start-finish line, still giving meaning to the Brickyard.
It's Indianapolis, you know, it's one of the most famous tracks in the world, so yeah, it's awesome. Even if I hated the track, it'd still be awesome to ride here, you know?
Crowded Indy is always amazing. Like I said, when I came back in 08, it was full to the brim. All the stands were jam-packed and all the infield was jam-packed. And I think if we come back here next year, it's going to be a really, really good showing for the fans.
This was before, you know, all the COVID was happening, and the downtown Central Square was just full of bikes. There was bikes everywhere, and it was such a cool atmosphere. I wish we could have it again, but obviously we're limited to what we can do, but I'm at least glad to see some of the fans in the stands over here and cheering us on and stuff.
To have the heritage bikes out here is like fulfilling a childhood dream for me to get on this track, to race it, also to have these historic bikes at a historic speedway. It's, you know, it's like a dream come true.
It is my first time at Indy. So far I love it. It feels like a European track, flat, really flowy track. It's really fun.
I wish the fans were allowed this weekend. I know we have some, but hopefully MotoAmerica can lock in Indy on the schedule in the future and invite all the fans out, and it would be incredible to see this place a packed house.
To be able to stretch the legs on a vintage bike like this on a track with this history is a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
When you're racing at the Brickyard, you've got to get some photos on the bricks. A few riders hit the bricks for some quick shots after getting in on Thursday to start the weekend. I couldn't pass up the opportunity myself. Toby Kemsuk and the family took a little break from racing before Indy with a little fishing in the Florida Keys. Alexis Oliveira, who's recovering from a crash earlier this season, was featured in a story on Inside Edition. The 15-year-old is badly missing racing. We wish her a speedy recovery and can't wait to see her on the track next year. Check out all of MotoAmerica's social media accounts and see unique content you can't see anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. When we return, we get a closer look at the Supersport rivalry with the class's top 2 contenders.
Hey guys, I'm Mathew Scholtz, about to take you for a lap around Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Inside MotoAmerica at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the racing capital of the world. Twins Cup privateer Hayden Schultz has spent some time in Indianapolis, both on and off the track. He enters Indy in 3rd place in the point standings in Twins Cup. He's also giving the Supersport class a shot at this track that he's familiar with. He takes us on a track walk to his favorite parts of the road course.
What's up, guys? I'm Hayden Scholtz. I ride for the Law Tigers, Britnum Construction, Hayden Scholtz Racing Team, and I'm at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm gonna show you my 3 favorite turns around the track. One of the coolest places about Indianapolis Motor Speedway is turn 1. My favorite part about turn 1 is that it's just so fast. As a motorcycle racer, I love speed, so coming on turn 1 is great. There's not really another corner like it in the US except maybe turn 1 at Daytona. And coming off such a long straightaway, coming in at such a high speed that you would think the first corner, you're really gonna have to slow it down. But that's not really the case here. Is really you're scrubbing off speed more than really getting on the brakes, because once you get in the corner, you can carry so much corner speed all the way through. It's really gonna set you up well to have a better lap time, and then also set it up for turn 2 where you can make a pass. All right, so we're here in turn 5. Turn 5 is kind of an important corner because you are coming off of a really fast left-handed sweeper coming into here. And then coming into the corner, it's actually a decreasing radius, so that means it tightens up at the end, and so it's got a sort of a late apex to it. You have to find a turning point and a good way to carry enough speed that you're not pinching off the corner. This is one of the spots that Valentino Rossi used to make some of his passes, so I expect this to be a spot where you'll see some of your racers setting up moves, especially late race when they're looking for spots, because there's not a ton of great passing zones here, so I expect this to be pretty exciting come Saturday and Sunday. All right, so now we're in the last corner. Last corner is always important. It's the last shot you have sometimes to make a pass, fight for a win, get that position you've been battling for. Here at Indianapolis, it's really important because it comes onto such a long front straightaway. So here you'll see one of the longest straights we probably have in the circuit. And when you're coming off a corner like this where you're carrying quite a bit of speed, it's really crucial to try to get a good drive. Here can be a great place to set up passes. It's where you're gonna see probably the majority of passing is coming out of this corner onto the front straight. All right, and that's it for a lap of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more of Inside MotoAmerica.
With Hayden also racing in the Supersport class this weekend, he's getting into the most hotly contested class this season. The top 2 points leaders have had quite the battles all year. Here's some thoughts about the battles with Richie Escalante and Sean Dillon Kelly.
Escalante's lunging for it. There he goes to the front. Boy, what a risky move.
The STK going to make a move as they go into the last corner.
Aggressive. I love it. So Sean Dillon Kelly, M4X Star Suzuki, forces his way by Escalante.
Sean is very fast rider and he's pushing to try to win the championship too.
Yes, there's pressure, but it's 100% within myself. It's totally within me, and it's more of the pressure of just going out there and giving my 100%.
I don't have this pressure. Right now I'm relaxed. I have a couple laps in the points, so this helped me a lot. So right now I just focus to continue to win races and hopefully win the championship.
I wouldn't even consider it that much pressure because I just know that if I do my job every single week and I focus on what I need to focus on, I know that the result's going to be, my 100%, and that's all I look for.
SDK is, I think, for the MotoAmerica paddock is the favorite, and for sure after last year rookie and win races, so I feeling too like, okay, maybe the MotoAmerica paddock not take Richie the favorite rider to win the championship, but me I feeling it's possible to win.
There was quite the climax, I guess we could say, at one point in the season a few weekends ago, referring to my battle against the championship rival, which is Escalante. And after that's been it, right? I kept on doing my job after that. I stopped talking about the things that I can't control, and I started just worrying more about the things I can control, which is giving my 100% and just going out there. Rivalry with Escalante is just, at this point, it's something fun. I'm gonna give him a battle, and it's always good.
There goes Sean Dillon Kelly on the inside, sideways, no room, they touch. Can he get a turn? He does. Sean Dillon Kelly to the front.
I think I'm working very hard to make this possible. Not only this year, before, I always training, focus to try to win one national championship. Just 2 rounds more, 4 races, so it's time to keep going, keep pushing, and try to win this year, and yeah, take the number plate at home.
The MotoAmerica Superbike Speed Fest at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca will feature the inaugural Drag Specialties King of the Baggers race. Vance and Hines will be entering a bike built at their facility in Indianapolis. NHRA Drag Racing Pro Eddie Krawick will pilot the bike against 13 other teams.
So we've got the bagger here for about 2 months, and we're probably a little late on it, but we're moving along really good. Just because we're a little late doesn't mean that we're skimping.
Michael Gilbert is giving up his third-place spot in the Stock 1000 Championship for a chance to compete in the HONOS Superbike class for the last 6 races of the season. He'll become a part of the Fly Racing ADR Motorsports team, riding a Suzuki GSX-R 1000. He's never ridden a race prep GSX-R 1000, but has ridden just about every motorcycle made as the test editor for Cycle World magazine. He was 90 points behind leader Cameron Peterson when he made the decision to put Stock 1000 to the side. Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York unveiled the Ducati Panigale V4R that Italian rider Lorenzo Zanetti will be riding at the Brickyard. The bike is a full-on Ducati Corsa customer World Superbike machine that has been built to MotoAmerica HONOS Superbike specifications. In addition to the motorcycle, Ducati Corsa supplied Celtic HSBK Racing with 2 Italian Ducati Corsa engineers who will work with the team crew chief Scott Jensen and his mechanics. Zanetti will be aboard the first full factory Ducati to compete in an AMA-sanctioned Superbike race since teammates Ben Bostrom and Neil Hodgson raced Ducati 999R factory machines for Parts Unlimited in 2006. When we return, we get an inside look at the top 2 contenders in the Supersport class and how they spend some of their time away from the track preparing mid-season.
Stay tuned for more on Inside MotoAmerica.
Welcome back to the Hoosier State and Inside MotoAmerica. Calm, collected, consistent. Our current Supersport Championship points leader, Richie Escalante, is having a breakout season. Heading into the penultimate round at Indianapolis with 11 victories, the Mexico native is on the fast track to winning his first ever American road racing title.
Wake up every morning with drive. Being on the grind, know I had to survive. We had to win. Started from the dirt and the rubble. I had to be the needle that was popping your bubble, letting the air out. Walking with a clear route. How we gon' rise today? I'm making mine today. Go make yours.
My normal day is normally I wake up 6, 7 in the morning. I take breakfast and then ride the bicycle with the team manager in the team, with Humberto Vaca. 1-2 hours every day. And then maybe sometimes watch MotoGP races in the TV, or right now I'm watch the videos for Indy, this new track for me. So I'm happy with my life right now in LA. Yeah, it's very, very simple.
From the city that never sleeps, it's the melting pot. I came through with purpose. I never question if it's worth it, homie. I'm on top, really, we on top. I'm on top, see me, I'm on top.
My dad raced before in the 90s star, so always loved the sport, always loved the road racing. I am starting in 2004, 8 years old. I'm with mini bike. My first bike is the PW80, so very nice bike. And then step by step, racing the national championship in Mexico, win championship there, and then start to jump to the big bike and big bike. So first 80, then change to the 125, and then I take the decision to why not try them to race in America, in MotoAmerica championship. So I'm coming with my dad and brother in a small truck, a small team, 2015, and then very good result, finish sub-champion behind Joe Roberts. And then the next year I have the opportunity to to race in one big team. So it's when Humberto Vaca gave me this opportunity. When I started this project this year to make the team, I know we have the very good crew, like good crew chief, good mechanic, and good the team manager Humberto to make everything good. So I know in this part I have a very good feeling. For sure, Humberto Vaca very important person of my life. He's helped me a lot and give me my first opportunity to race in one big team in 2016 in the Super Stock class and finish champion. Entering this program with this very good team, I think the most important is the team we have right now. Yeah, for sure, me win this year the championship is for sure very emotional. I think I'm working very hard to make this possible. For sure, I think my father, my brother, my girlfriend, all the team, all the fans, the MotoAmerica fans, my fans to support me in social media is very important. So for sure it's a very special moment. So I think it's possible to win this year the championship. So, and right now everything working good. So I'm very happy.
Rising star 18-year-old Sean Dylan Kelly has his sights set on success. With his first MotoAmerica Supersport Championship within reach, the rider simply known as SDK shows us there's nothing simple about his preparation. The Inside MotoAmerica crew followed him to gain a greater perspective of exactly what it takes.
For the victory lap though. Whoa, whoa, they ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome, what for? Train under trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Ain't no channel for champions and chain no fear. Switch gears, we keeping haters in the rear. At the blood, sweat, and tears, and my goal so near. I see my victory so clear. I see my victory so clear.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have my daydreaming moments, and I have all my moments, right, of just sitting and just thinking about, actually winning the championship, and I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Honestly, the same thing that happened to me last year, thinking about that race win. Once I did get it, it was like I had never celebrated so much in my life. I'm gonna celebrate really hard. Just probably screaming and not having a voice by the end of the week.
But that's not by speculation. But the position that I got, I climbed too high to fall, way too hard to drop.
13 races, 3 race wins. The rest are all second places, 1 third place. I can't complain about that, right? If we look at the stats from the outside, that's very solid, and I have to be grateful for that because we're also still in the hunt for the championship. We are 40 points down, but 4 races left. Anything can happen.
What's my next stage? Yeah, I said the champ is here. Switch gears, we keeping haters in the rear. At the blood, sweat, and tears, and my goal so near. I see my victory so clear.
I like to combine the, going to the gym, doing some, more weightlifting like we did yesterday, mountain biking, and some motorcycle riding. I always try to implement that. It's easier to do in the off weeks because it's not so scrunched up on like race weeks. It is a little bit harder to do in terms of riding just because of where I live. There's not too many tracks, so I have my Supermoto ready. I have a track, a few hours away that I can go to. It's not an issue, and I have good accessibility there. So I do try to do an escape one of the days within the week to get some good riding in a full day.
Toes, ceiling, floor, back.
Dr. Moyle is a really big part of my program. I've been going there for years now, and he's been a really big help of mine.
Down here, left side is better. Neck, left side is stuck. Right side is perfect.
Right now, it's more of maintenance, just keeping my body at peak performance pretty much, and it's crazy how important it is for me to get aligned every week pretty much, and before and after a race weekend.
Every time you do the adjustment, like my breathing, like I don't notice that I feel different, before I come in, but every time you do something, like it just feels like I can open up.
Well, that's a lot to do with the first move I do with the leg and digging in there, the psoas muscle release. Look at that, both shoulders go right up. No restriction. Before it was like this. So now you're totally free.
All right, let's get to the gym.
No excuse now.
Nope. Time to go to work.
Thanks, Doc.
This was a warm-up.
Thank you. Thank you.
You got it.
This is when we added the other tests.
Mike is, I was going to say, a huge part of the program, but he is the program, right? He is the reason why I'm training the way I'm training and why I'm the athlete I am today.
Whoa, talking about that.
Right hip, left shoulder.
When I broke my leg in January, he was my rehab. He was I saw no one else. Right at 6 weeks, I was already back on my race bike. I was testing with the team. I've had zero issues.
Yeah.
The ankles are better than last time, I think, or no?
I'm always wanting more of myself, and I feel like that's something really good because it grows into racing as well. It doesn't just have to be waking up and just doing the workout just because there's people expecting me. I feel like there's no one that is expecting me to do it. It's just myself. I just always want more, and I don't settle for less. That's my main thing. Racing there's so many hard times. There's so many tough things that you need to go through, and but not even on just a race weekend, but just the career. I'm only 18, but I've been racing for 12 years now, and my parents and I my family and I have gone through a lot of stuff. This is directly to Mom and Dad, who have not let off the throttle to get me to where I am today. It's hard for me to really thank you two for what you've done, and I hope one day I can somehow give back at least a little bit. Just an infinite thank you for everything, and I love you guys so much.
Up next, I sat down with HONOS Superbike rider Mathew Scholtz before the season for another Why We Ride.
Stay tuned for more on Inside MotoAmerica.
Welcome back to Inside MotoAmerica at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Indiana. Make sure you visit MotoAmerica.com to bring home some new gear for the family. Show your fandom all year long with t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. Fill up your cart and purchase right from the site. There's only one stop left for the 2020 season with the final round at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. There'll be another Heritage Cup race exhibition and the inaugural Drag Specialties King of the Baggers race. The provisional schedule for the 2021 season was released a few weeks ago by MotoAmerica, with 8 of the rounds tentatively in place. The remaining 2 rounds, locations, and dates will be named in the near future. MotoAmerica plays host to riders from around the world. Westby Racing Superbike rider Mathew Scholtz got an early start in his career growing up in South Africa. I sat down with Matt to talk all things racing and how his journey ultimately led him to join the premier American road racing series. This is Why We Ride. We're going to take it all the way back to the very beginning and your introduction to motorcycles. Where did you start?
I think I was 7 years old maybe. I was at a friend's house and I think we're having like a Sunday bra. I think it's a barbecue to you guys here. And he lived next to a park, and we were kind of just messing around in his garage, and I saw his PB50 and asked if we could take it out, and both of our parents agreed to it and went and rode his motocross bike around the park. I loved it, and my dad bought me one maybe a week or two later, and then just started riding my PB50 around the soccer field when my dad was playing his Sunday games. And then someone told us about a local motocross track, went there, practiced a couple of times, entered a novice race a couple of weeks later, won my first ever novice race and never looked back. And a couple of years later, I moved onto the road race bike and I was about 14, 15. And, I never really thought of it as a career. But then when I was about 15, we put in our application for the Red Bull Rookies. I got accepted for that. And that's when it kind of turned into a career and more of a job. But yeah, riding motorbikes since about 70 years old. So 20 years later now. And I plan on riding for as long as I possibly can.
How did your parents feel about all of this in the beginning, especially when things started to get more serious?
My mom was never really a fan because obviously she didn't like seeing her boys. I've got a younger brother. He also started racing with me, and we didn't crash often, but we certainly put it down more times than we should have. So my mom was always a little bit worried about us getting hurt and stuff. And my dad wanted us to play soccer. He was very, very big into soccer, but we took a little bit of a different path. But I mean, either way, apart from him wanting us to do soccer and my mom being a little bit scared, they've been the most supportive parents, sacrificed a hell of a lot. I mean, drove me across the country, flew me to Europe and stuff, sacrificed their own personal time and finance and just to get me where I am today, and couldn't be more thankful.
What was it like growing up in South Africa? What was the motorcycle riding and racing culture like there?
I did motocross for the first couple of years and it was really, really big. I mean, I don't think as big as what it is here, racing in the US series, but it was still relatively big. Classes were pretty full. We were filling gates up of over 20-something riders. And then I think just started getting smaller and smaller and numbers started dropping off. And so we kind of went overseas, and the racing overseas, you kind of lose track of how things are going back home. But there's been a fair few decent amount of riders coming out of South Africa. So obviously we're doing something right there. For such a small country, we've produced some talented riders. So, it's a very good championship.
How did you end up here in the United States in our series, MotoAmerica?
I ended up here, took Sheridan Marias is a very famous South African racer from back home, and I was actually riding for his dad's Superbike team, racing in the SA Championship. And Sheridan unfortunately got hurt in a crash, and they needed someone to fill in. So his dad gave me the opportunity to come and fill in from here, and I did pretty well. And the Westby guys kind of took a look at me. Noticed that I had something, gave me a chance to ride for them the last couple rounds of 2016, and put it on the podiums a couple times, and then signed with them in 2017, won the Super Stock 1000 Championship, moved into Superbike in 2018, and been with them since. And I think this is now my fourth year riding for them, and the best bunch of guys.
What is your team dynamic like with your crew?
Smaller team, more of a family outfit, as a single man Superbike team. So I think the joys of when we do well, it's a crazy atmosphere there, but when I don't do well as a single rider, I think it's really, really down. But overall, they're an amazing team, and I think what we've done together is pretty special.
What is it that motivates you to continue to swing a leg over that bike? Why do you ride?
One of the things that I always say is when you're racing the bike, you don't smile or you don't think about, this feels great. You're just in the moment, riding, feeling the speed or what the bike's doing. But it's when you come off and you can't not stop smiling. Once you racing just becomes a part of you and who you are.
Next on Inside MotoAmerica, we take a look at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. The museum dates back to 1956 and is located on the infield of the Speedway.
Stay tuned for more on Inside MotoAmerica.
Welcome back to Round 8 of the 2020 MotoAmerica season and Inside MotoAmerica. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the racing capital of the world, has a hidden gem inside the 2.5-mile oval. the IMS Museum. The purpose of this museum is to preserve racing history, housing one of the premier collections of racing vehicles in the world. While they have a special affinity for the Indy 500 race, the museum also has more than a century worth of NASCAR, Formula One, America's short track racing, drag racing, and motorcycles. The Hall of Fame inside pays tribute to drivers, team owners, and personalities who have had a significant impact on the track.
Racing's part of my blood, as I'm sure it is for you too. So I'm going to take you on a little tour here, show you around, give you some of the highlights of what we have here. This is the car that won the inaugural Indianapolis 500-mile race back in 1911. The car was actually built in 1910, but this car was crashed actually in one of the races in 1910. A driver named Ray Haroon drove it then, and he drove it again in 1911, and he's a part of history now. Arguably the best car that ever competed here. It won the 500 twice with Wilbur Shaw. He was basically the guy that saved the Speedway after World War II. I mean, this place would probably be like strip malls or housing developments or something. Wilbur Shaw saved the place. I don't know how many moto fans went out and saw Ford versus Ferrari, the movie with Matt Damon and Christian Bale last year, but phenomenal movie. They were actually here at the 2019 Indianapolis 500, did a press conference here at the museum, and we have photographs of them with these two cars. The reason why these cars are so significant is because this car, it's a Ferrari 250 LM, it's built in 1964, but it won Le Mans in 1965, and it was the last Ferrari to win Le Mans. All right, guys, so we're now here at what is really the most coveted piece of the Indianapolis 500 tradition, achievement, everything. This is the Borg Warner Trophy, but what's so special about this trophy is that every winner of the Indianapolis 500, from Ray Haroon in 1911 right up to Kumasato, who was a winner in 2020, will have his face on here again. And every winner has their likeness in sterling silver on this trophy, so they are literally part of racing immortality because of this right here. Keep in mind here, there is history all over this place. But just look out here, these are all Indianapolis 500 winners, and this represents everything in automotive heritage, pretty much from 1940s up until just the last few years. So that's what this museum is about, is just capturing the essence, the history, the impact of the Indianapolis 500 on this entire country and really the world of auto racing. So it's an amazing collection, worth coming and checking out sometime. And I'm not biased, that's just true.
Suspension is basically what sucks up all the energy on the motorcycle when they apply throttle brake or running over bumps, undulations in the track. And suspension calms it down and gives them a good feel so they can connect. Ultimately, it's controlling the energy through the forces of the bike via support from the spring and hydraulic valving. So basically, there's hydraulic fluid that passes through little tiny holes, and we're able to adjust that within really small increments to give the bike control and the rider the feeling that they're looking for. Sean is a very special rider coming from more of the GP side of stuff, and not only that, he's really smooth. So we end up getting to run a quite softer setup than your general population would run, and without problem at all. Like his inputs are great, so it makes my job easy.
Hi, I'm Melissa Paris. I am the lead technician for Cameron Peterson on the number 45 with Altus Motorsports. Cam rides a bike that I jokingly refer to as a man's bike. He likes a bike with a lot of trail. He needs a lot of support on the brakes. Cam's really strong, and he wrenches on the bars really hard. Like if I rode it, I might say, this bike's hard to turn into the corner. But for him, it gives him the confidence, and it gives him everything he needs to be able to lean on the front end really hard. It's really impressive. So usually when we're talking about suspension, we're talking about the front forks and the rear shock and how we're going to adjust those to help get the rider as comfortable as possible so they can do their job. The first thing we're doing is we're just basic geometry. So trying to get the balance of the bike right, the attitude. And then beyond that, we're going to adjust the suspension to make sure that we maximize things like grip or stability or how the bike feels on the brakes. It's so key that we have as much adjustability as we do. You just want to make sure that your rider feels comfortable, because that's the main thing that's going to make them go quick, is if they feel good about it.
Stick around after the break. Indiana native and Supersport rider Nolan Lamkin takes us on a little trip around his hometown with his friend from across the pond, Liqui Moly Junior Cup rider Jack Roach.
Stay tuned for more on Inside MotoAmerica.
Welcome back to the Brickyard and Inside MotoAmerica. Indianapolis native Nolan Lamkin grew up just minutes from the Speedway. Before he heads into his first ever race weekend here, he showed England native Jack Roach just what makes this city an amazing part of history.
How far do you live from here?
I live 30 minutes from here. So my address is actually Indianapolis.
Can you see the circuit from your house?
No, I'm not that close. So went to every MotoGP race they had, and then went to most of the F1 races. So it was pretty cool. And it's just seeing all the fans and that stuff that they had here. Everybody was super passionate.
So where are we going?
So we're going to Long's Donuts. It's
Long's Donuts.
Long. L-O-N-G.
Are they long donuts?
No, I think that's the guy's name. So Long's Donuts, that was the place that my dad and I used to always go to before every MotoGP race. It was kind of our tradition. We'd stop there in the morning, grab glazed donuts, and then go to the track.
It's quite an emotional story. I might cry.
There was a rap song that somebody put out about this place because the donuts were so good and he couldn't get them during quarantine.
So like a Krispy Kreme?
Basically.
Okay.
But it'll knock your socks off.
Better than Krispy Kreme?
Oh yeah.
I'll be the judge of that. I didn't bring my wallet with me.
I got you, mate.
If you're paying, then I'll just get a bunch of them and just give it to everyone. Nolan Lamkin sponsored everybody for donuts. Thank you. You too. Oh, which ones are mine?
The two in the back, I think.
That is nice.
They're so good.
Compared to Krispy Kreme? Better.
Was it out of the water? What I told you, man.
It doesn't blow out the water.
Oh, I'd say it was.
I think it's quite flow. No, I dropped my jelly. We've had a casualty. Where are we off to?
Downtown, Monument Circle.
Downtown.
Part of the city.
Wow, that's a big stadium.
So Lucas Oil Stadium, they held the Super Bowl there in 2011. It used to be this old inflatable place. Pat McAfee played for the Colts, and he actually helped sponsor a IndyCar team here a couple years ago and raced at the Speedway.
Super Bowl is football, right? American football.
Yeah.
Okay.
The place we're going next is Monument Circle. They say Monument Circle is only 15 feet shorter than the Statue of Liberty, as it's called the Soldiers and Sailors Monument.
It's quite tall, isn't it? There's a window up there. Can we get in?
So there's a museum that's up top. My grandmother's told me so many stories about this. I believe the limestone that it's made from was mined in southern Indiana.
I'll race to the top. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Don't tell anybody what your wish is, though. You'll be backwards, ain't you? And then, hopefully my wish comes true. What you got there?
So this is a helmet that I had custom made for my home race. Being from Indianapolis, having my nickname be Indy, the city means a lot to me. The Indiana state flag is a blue background with a torch with stars surrounding it. So that's why we have that. The way they have that design, I really like that. But that's the monument. So the person at the very top of the monument.
It makes me dizzy looking up. That's very high.
The other thing that we did is we did Back Home Again. That's the song that they always sing before the Indianapolis 500. Then my brother added that little tag there at the end.
Aw, so emotional. It's a nice helmet, mate.
It means a lot. It's pretty cool. That's so cool.
When we return, a blast from the past with the Heritage Cup exhibition. Plus, we mic up some of Andrew Lee's crew in the MotoAmerica paddock and pits.
We'll for sure adjust the grip. I'm trying to figure out the other stuff, you know.
I put more TC into it that time to see if that did anything.
Welcome back to Inside MotoAmerica at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Indianapolis, Indiana. There's no better way to get an inside look at what goes on at the track than listening in on a few people we mic'd up in the paddock and pits.
Pressure's good. Pressures are good. Starting you off on that more aggressive, less engine or more engine braking setting, essentially.
Okay. Yeah,
so it's
0.
Yeah.
1 is more. It's better. It's gonna get. I think the tire's not great.
Okay. Did it at least feel better, especially on the 455?
I had a little bit more grip on the medium than I did the soft yesterday.
It sounds like the bike simply needs to be more dynamic, and I'm not really sure what's going to be the best approach to that just yet. For sure, we need to allow it to transfer more weight to the rear.
Yeah, copy that. Let's clear front of grid. What we'll do is swap. I'll have you hold the sign. I'll do the flag behind you after the last bike goes by, okay?
Next bike is leader, right?
You get a ride-through penalty while we're displaying the checkered flag. That's a first. Look how short Scott looks over there. Think we can get one of those jumbotrons wherever we go? That line from Full Metal Jacket, where we're all raring and ready to go and ready to eat our young.
That's the spirit. That's why I'm here too. Boy, you disappear fast, on track and off. Gentlemen, put your clothes on. Thank you for making it look good, man. That was sweet. I was gonna say, don't turn the bike off. It adds a nice little beat to the conversation. You had officially the fastest lap out there. You know, for whatever that's worth. Junior Cup came on after us. What exactly are we saying? Boy, those Ninja 400s suddenly look fast. Put a bow and a feather on top of this one.
So here we're at the second event of MotoAmerica's Heritage Cup for 2020, and we're at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, one of the most legendary tracks in the world. This is a place that has been famous for kids that are growing up, wanting to be there for any place, any country on earth. And here we are getting to ride the bikes that we've been racing and lusting after for 40, 50, even 60 years out here. So it's an incredible opportunity to showcase these amazing machines.
I found out about the Heritage Cup. It was just your show is what it was. I can't say anything else, but that's where I saw it on your show. It was great. And I'm going, well, I'm going to do that, you know, again. So here we are. I'm enjoying every second of it.
The road course is a real Grand Prix layout. I really can't tell on TV how much flow it is. It's just, there's almost hardly any real braking areas at all. When you have a little bitty flywheel and a two-stroke engine, you gotta keep it going.
This bike's neat. It was a barn find that came out of Iowa. It had clearly been raced. All the fasteners were drilled. There were a number of racing parts still on it. It looked like what happened was at some point, whoever had been racing it slapped it back together, sold it to a street rider, who then beat it into the ground and left it in the barn. 20 or 30 years later, along comes me. 3 weeks after I got it, I put it on the podium at Road America in an ARMA vintage race.
So Heritage Cup was scheduled for 3 events this year, but Laguna Seca was always dedicated to be specifically a race put on by the Classic Superbike Racing Association, the CSRA. And with their sanction, they'll be doing a actual race where flags drop, and they will be racing for real prizes.
The next episode of Inside MotoAmerica will be filmed from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Check your local listings for airtimes on the NBC Sports Network. For all of us here at Inside MotoAmerica, I'm Hannah Lopa. See you next time.
Rocco Landers, a winner in the Twins Cup, taking the championship with 8 victories on the season.
The pride of Tizayuca, Mexico, Richie Escalante, the win and the national championship.
Cam Peterson, he's not a 6-time winner in a row, make it 7.
And here comes Cameron Beaubier. And Beaubier will finish second and win his 5th national championship.